One of the things that's definitely hurt me the most over the years, I would say, would be a lack of information. And a lot of times this comes because I didn't take the time to look for it. And sometimes it just comes because I didn't know. I didn't have that information, right? They, in the Marine Corps, there was always this saying of, recruit don't know. Like, you can't just always say recruit don't know. Like, you got to know something. Take the time to look into this information and get it, right? But sometimes we don't have that information that we need to be successful. And one of the examples that I love to use about this is when it comes to my diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder, right? So when I got diagnosed with it, one, I didn't know what it was at all. I didn't know that these nightmares, this anger, these triggering events, these memories I kept having, these flashbacks that come up, I didn't know that those all fell under a category of a diagnosis called post-traumatic stress disorder. So once I received that diagnosis, I received it as part of who I was. I said, okay, this is what I'm experiencing in my life. I have post-traumatic stress disorder. That's who I am. I'm a combat veteran with post-traumatic stress disorder. Okay, great. That's my identity now. And then one day I met a man at church, right? And he invited me over to his home to meet with a few other guys from church. And so we'd sit and talk, pray for each other, just encourage each other in life, right? And the first night I went over to his house, he was at the sink, and I walked up to him before I was getting ready to leave after the meeting was over. And I said, hey, bro, I just want to tell you something real quick because I feel like you should know. I'm a Marine Corps combat veteran, and I have PTSD. And so what that means is that sometimes I can be unpredictable. Some people call that a loose cannon. And you're inviting me into your home. I just felt you should know this. And I felt like I was doing him a solid by letting him know, right? But one of the coolest things is that this man turned around. This man who barely knew me at the time. He turned around from the sink and he faced me, looked at me eye to eye, and he said, bro, no, you don't. No, you don't. And I felt angry at first. I said, what do you mean, no, I don't? You don't know me. I've been given this diagnosis. I have PTSD. You can't tell me I don't, right? This is what I'm thinking in my head. And I'm getting progressively upset inside. And he went on to explain to me, you don't have PTSD. You may have a diagnosis, but that is not your identity. God says that you are healed and whole. God says you have a mind of Christ. God says you're a mighty warrior. You are a champion. You are more than a conqueror. He says all of these things about you. That's who you are. That's your identity. See, up to that point, I never had that information. I didn't know that God said those things about me. And so as I walked away, still upset, I sat in my car, and for the next few days, I was thinking, maybe he's on to something. Maybe I should look into what God says about me. If I believed what a doctor told me, then why not look in to see what God says about me? And now I have new information in my life. And that new information changed everything. Because now I don't say I have PTSD. I don't have it. I don't want it. It's not a part of who I am. I can say I am diagnosed with it. But I am a truly blessed, highly favored child of God. I am a mighty warrior. I am a champion. I have the mind of Christ, and I'm healed and whole from the head to my toes. That's who I am. But I was able to get to that point because of information. So if you have a lack of information somewhere in your life, seek that information out and make the shift to become a better you.